this is Willie Roseman, and I've been asked to do a brief statement about my daughter, Nicole Shepherd. I'm going to talk just briefly on Nicole. What makes Nicole great, why I think she's great, and kind of what makes her what she is today. I remember from an early age, even in junior high school, Nicole would always want to know what is she getting and when does she get it. So I guess to make it clear, Nicole's greatness, or the person she is today, is derived from a fault that she developed, what she had since early as I can remember. And that fault is, if it's coming to her, she wants it now, not next week, not next year. I remember when she was in junior high school, we talked about wills and things like that, and she says, "Well, Dad, can I have mine now? Do I have to wait?" And I explained to her, no, that's not how it works. So the fault I'm talking about that has built a fire in her is, the fault is that she wants it now. She does not like to wait. But what that does has created a spark so that now whenever she goes after something, she focuses on that. And she's driven to reach that goal. Now she'll have steps along the way, and I'll have to admit, sometimes she will procrastinate on some of those incremental steps. But the ultimate goal of getting there is never deviated from. She will start from A to go to Z. It might come to the point where she might cluster A, B, and C together, but at the end of the day, she is going to have gone through the entire plan without deviation. So she has a fire that was from early age built. It keeps the fire in her soul going, and that is what makes her drive forward. And I think it's made her a great person, because now, with or without my support, Nicole can do what she wants to do, and she knows how to focus and drive toward that. So in summary, it's the fault of wanting everything right now that has given her the drive to go forth and achieve what she wants when she wants to get it done. That's my daughter, Nicole.
Happy Father's Day to all the amazing fathers out there in the world. And I want to tell you that today I get an opportunity to tell you about an amazing man who happens to be my father, Willie Roseman. And I get to tell you why he is so great. I believe he is so great because he has been there for my sister and I since day one. I feel like there are so many dads out there today that they may want to be there, but because of their careers, because of whatever they have going on, they're not able to in the way that he has been able to. And so he's always made time for my sister and I, also my own children, also my sister's children and their children, and so his great-grandchildren. He still takes them to school, he still picks them up. He is that person that has always been reliable and been there for us no matter what. We haven't been perfect, and he has not expected us to be. Every time that we've had those growth opportunities or those opportunities to rebirth ourselves or rejuvenate our paths, he has been right there every step of the way to help us. And so I feel so privileged today to share him with you in an interview on why failure is not a final destination, it is a pit stop. So I want to speak to all of those out there, all of you out there that are in the midst of trying to find answers to challenges that you have in life, and find them, and not only find them but also be successful in overcoming them, because I feel like there's a need there, and there's so much shame and so much guilt when you miss the mark, and people may not understand. They may believe that it's more to the story than there is, and it's not. You know the story, you know the path that you're on, and I just want to encourage you to keep surging forward, because you're gonna win if you don't quit. Hello, Podcast Nation and YouTubers and bloggers. This is Nikki Shepherd with Nikki Speaks, and today I'm so excited to have my father here, Willie Roseman, who I will be interviewing today on failure is not a destination. It's not a final destination, it is a pit stop. So I'm so excited that you joined me today to interview my dad on Father's Day. So, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. I'm glad to be here this morning.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your experience with failure.
My experience with failure, I guess if I go back a little bit, it would come with my intent when I went in the Air Force some years back. I always wanted to be a pilot. From an early age, I would run in the yard in the shadows of the B-52s and the fighters that would fly over the yard, and I always wanted to fly one. I went in the Air Force with that intention. Well, I didn't achieve that goal. So you might say, yes, I did fail at that, but it was not the end destination because I did find a way around it. But I did start out wanting to be a pilot, and I knew at the time I needed a degree in the education to get there. Well, I was 2 years short. I had the time to do it, but I got sidetracked on other things. So I didn't get the education at the required time. I had to be age 26 in order to fly, but I didn't get the education until later. But what I didn't stop there was, as we said, it was simply a pit stop. So from there, I went ahead and got into the mobility portion or rapid deployment portion of the Air Force. I had a very, very successful career in that area. So as failure, yes, it haunts me to this day that I didn't do it, but I'm very proud that I was able to find another way around that and have a very successful career in the Air Force.
That's awesome. Okay, great. Well, when I think of failure, I think in terms of when we all have been in school at some point and we've had to take tests, and a lot of times, I mean, I know I failed tests. I don't know if you knew that, but
I'm aware you failed the test.
I have failed tests in school before and in life too. And you know, I remember though in school, the shame that would come when I received that. You know, it wasn't a lot, thank God. But when I would receive it, that the shame would come over me, and I would immediately start looking to see what other people have received, you know, and wondering about what they received, and then, you know, talking down to myself mentally, like, man, I can't believe I did this. And even if I didn't study, you know, even if it was my fault, I still had this shame and this guilt, and had to walk through that. But the nice thing about it now, reflecting on it and being, you know, having gone through life and having gone through some failures of my own, I realized that it's okay, you know, that you never stay there, you know, and that test is a temporary test, because there's always going to be another one, you know, and you have an opportunity to change it, you know, and to pass it, and not only pass it, but to excel the next time.
That's correct.
You know, so with that, I want to ask you, what would you tell your child, your children, your grandchildren, in terms of what resiliency you need to have to be able to endure when you are in that failure moment, and when you feel that shame and when you feel that guilt? How do you overcome that?
What I would say to them, to you, and yes, we did talk about this at different times, failure is not the end result. You fail only when you tell me, or if you told me I failed a test, I'm not going back to that class anymore. That was just too embarrassing. I got to deal with this. I'm just not going to do it. I'll go and do something else in life. That's failure. The resilience you need in order not to fail is to say, yes, I failed, but guess what? I need to go back. In other words, learn from that failed test, that you can go back, study what you missed, and then come back and reapply it. And that way, it's not a failure. It now becomes a success, because the second time around you go, now that was great. But the key point is you learned not to stop or give up at the first failure. You found a way around that failure to now continue going forward. That's something you need to take into life.
Right.
When it fails at this point, don't stop. Find another way around it.
Right.
And then you continue in life. And therefore, your failures become history, something that you can use to grow and develop from. That's where you want to go with failure.
That's very good. I need to write that down.
That's very good.
So Dad, tell me about, I know you often talked about us racing. And I know for many years, we would race each other when I was younger, you know, just trying to get to become a track star or what have you. And you would always beat me.
That's correct.
And then one day,
in front of
I won.
In front of my class.
Yes, I won, you failed. So tell me about that moment. Tell the audience about that moment.
That moment was actually a moment of pride.
Okay.
Versus a moment of failure on my part, Because on your own, well, let me step back just for a moment. Yes, I always beat you. And you skipped the part about where you came to me crying and say, Daddy, when am I going to win? And what I told you was, when you can win without me backing off, you win. If I let you win, you haven't won anything. You simply continue forward. So from there, when you reached that point, that was a point of pride, even though I was kind of embarrassed in front of the class because they watched you beat me who was trying to teach them. Mm-hmm. But what they didn't know, what I knew was you had reached a point that I could no longer teach. So now I needed to back away, put you in the hands of someone who could take you from A to maybe B. And if you remember, we contacted Sally, another person that was experienced in track and field. She took you from where, when I reached my destination, I knew it was time to let you go. Mm-hmm. Sally picked you up and you went forward. Mm-hmm. That's the success in how you got where you are. Mm-hmm. Knowing when to let go, knowing when to go forward with somebody that can teach you. You don't stay where you don't become stagnant. Move on. That's how you got there.
So from my perspective, racing you each time, I kept encouraging myself, even though I'm, comparing that and making parallelism to failure. I just realized that I had to keep going. I had to keep trying because eventually I was going to win. And so that's what I want to tell the audience, and I want to ask you to share with the audience some tips that you would leave them with. Because I don't know if there's anyone out there that has been experiencing failure or currently feels like you have experienced failure, even in the past, and you haven't been able to get over, whatever it was that you feel like you failed at. I just want to encourage you to keep going, keep trying, because you're going to win. And make sure that you have the right people in your ear. Make sure that you don't, anything that's negative that you're either seeing or hearing, you have to get away from that. You have to isolate yourself, because it's very important. Not isolate yourself in a bad way, but isolate yourself with only letting positive things come in and really doing that, because that's the only way that you're going to win. That positive self-talk, believing in yourself, knowing that there will be a chance that you'll ace it, you'll excel in whatever it is that you're aspiring to do. What is your parting?
My parting comment is, if you look at failure as a learning tool, then you propel yourself forward. Don't see failure as the end destination. This is it. I can't do it anymore. What did you learn from what you failed to do? Now, if you take that and move it forward, so that next time around, you know how to move around that obstacle. Now, if you go think backwards, if you didn't move forward, you're going to stop at that same obstacle every time. So take forward, and take what I'm saying is, every failure in a way has its own positive aspect. You can learn from that, you can pass that on to your kids, and you yourself can learn to navigate around obstacles by looking back and say, what did I do last time when this happened? You think about it, and what do? You go forward, and this time you take a different path. That's what I want you to take away from all this. Don't stop. Use failure as a positive tool. It's there to help you, not hinder you.
See why he's such a great dad? Thank you guys for joining us today. We're so excited. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, the grandfathers, the part-time fathers, whoever you are, wherever you are. Happy Father's Day to you, and happy birthday to me. I'm sharing a special day with you, June 17th of 2018.
We do share Father's Day and birthday every year.
Every other year.
Why every other year?
I don't know. Whoever made the calendar, you have to ask Jesus and God. But every other year, I don't know why. It's every other year. It falls on Father's Day.
I didn't know that.
This year,
and
I had to share this day with you.
Teach me anything.
Right.
You just did.
I would.